Peace to the gang, and welcome to Quit the Cat Podcast. Peace to the gang, and welcome back to Quit the Cat Podcast.
Yes, sir.
It's your boy VP, alongside the Bishop,
Yes,
coming
sir.
to you from Bang Bang Fitness Center here in Harrisburg, PA.
All right.
And today's guest, ladies and gentlemen,
Yes.
refers to himself as a walking, living miracle after surviving a near-fatal car crash. He's a public speaker, as well as he just recently self-published an autobiography entitled The Inspirational Story of Ethan A. Poetic, Chronicles of Adversities, Education, Sports, Relationships, and Resiliency. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Ethan A. Poetic.
All
What's
right.
going on,
Thank
man?
you very much for that intro.
Yes,
I
sir,
appreciate it.
Yeah.
And these are my books. This is
Oh.
the soft cover.
Yeah, we gonna hold on. So that's all. We gonna get to it.
We gotta tease them
We
first.
gonna get it. We gonna get to it. Before we
Yeah.
get started, though, ladies and gentlemen, we
Yes.
gotta do a quick vibe check. Bishop, how you feeling, man?
I'm feeling good, man. That's all I can put it. I'm feeling good, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I can dig it.
Committed. Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Ethan, how you feeling today, man?
Busy in a good way, work, a lot of contacts, and staying booked.
Okay.
That's what's up. That's
Staying
what's up.
booked.
Booked and busy.
How you feeling, B?
Hey, I'm extravagant.
Okay.
I'm going with extravagant
Okay.
today.
Okay.
I feel good. You know what I mean?
Okay. So, Ethan, what we do, because for one, we about to get I first want to say that we are about to find out who Ethan is.
Yeah.
At the same time, our audience is. The way we connected, I happened to see the message in Messenger, and I contacted him, and then I seen all the things. I was like, we would love for you to come
That's
over and be a
awesome,
guest.
man.
So what we want from you is take us from the beginning, your upbringing, and bring us to the point where you're at now and how you got to where you're at now.
I'm originally from Coastal, Pennsylvania, home of the Coastal Red Raiders, Rick Hamilton, my second cousin Hubert or Hubby Marshall made it to the NBA as well,
Okay.
and Joe Abel, and many other athletic scholars. I am mixed with African American, Puerto Rican, and some European based on a ancestry DNA test. I was able to create a family tree going back to the 1700s on both sides.
Okay.
And, I was a very athletic person growing up. Our 8th grade team at Gordon Middle School was undefeated.
Okay.
Most
And
of
what was
us,
that, basketball?
it was for football.
Football? Okay.
Yeah, most of us were projected to start varsity for both football and track by our 10th grade years.
Okay.
Unfortunately, my mom decided to make a change by moving the family to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, where I only knew 2 people,
Okay.
an uncle and a second cousin.
Okay.
And over time, it was a big adjustment going from one city to a bigger city.
Okay.
Sports helped with that transition. Relationships helped with that transition. Being welcomed by a lot of people in the community of Lancaster, from the leaders to the old school folks who were very, keen on who's that guy in our neighborhood,
Okay.
who's that person in that middle school, now going into our high school. I like to thank my coaches for football, football, wrestling, and track
Okay.
with that transition, because I don't wish that on anybody.
Okay.
To leave one city and everything you know is for another in the middle of a school year.
Okay.
Now, fast forward to us, I saw one of your ads on Facebook, and I realized, let's just hit him up.
Okay.
And less than an hour later, he contacted me back. We set up this interview that we're doing right now. I made the drive from Lancaster, Pennsylvania
I appreciate it.
to Harrisburg, the state capital. And later next month, I'm going to get recognized at the state capital of Harrisburg by Izzy Smith Waddell. He's one of the people and politicians. I knew his family for several years.
Okay.
His mom was a pioneer in the community. Her name is the late, great Dr. Rita Waddell Smith.
Okay.
She has a place or a section of Mills University inside one of those buildings named after her.
Okay.
She gave back when she needed to give back. She paid it forward when she needed to pay it forward. Her, passing was more old school. There was no funeral. It was more like a memorial.
Okay.
Let's just meet at the gymnasium. You say what you need to say while I'm still alive.
Okay.
Make your peace.
Yes.
Whatever. And then, give your hugs. Take your pictures. It's not so much a final goodbyes. It's more like the celebration of life.
Okay.
Right,
Gotcha.
right.
And, from there, I've been able to build relationships with Izzy Waddell Smith and his campaign crew.
Okay.
And right now, I'm ready to get started and continue to move forward.
Okay. So I want to talk to you about the car accident.
Yes.
So tell us how what transpired, because I seen that you said you were almost 99%.
Yeah, 99% chance of death versus 1% chance of life.
Yes.
That 99% chance is like higher than the divorce rate,
Okay.
dropping out of high school, a failed business, getting struck by lightning, a heart attack, a stroke, diabetes, a mental health breakdown.
Okay.
But it's the faith of that 1% that made all the difference. And of course, being on over 30 prayer lists and
Okay.
a whole bunch of other stuff. I'm about to tell you something based off of my own research.
Okay.
'Cause I was involved in the car accident, but I don't remember the car accident. It's like you're
Mm,
there.
Yeah.
It's like I'm there,
Yeah.
But you
but I just wasn't
have
there.
no recollection of it.
Yeah. So basically, I was helping out this nonprofit called, at the time, Children Deserve a Chance Foundation. They rebranded to Atalo. The founder and board member is Jordan Steffi.
Okay.
We met by coincidence on a Saturday church service at Inlight Ministry, and we just stayed connected.
Okay.
His vision for me is something he saw, something in me that some people didn't believe that I could
Okay.
do, which is, I'm a young adult at the time. He was telling me, I believe it's best for you to open up more doors by furthering education.
Okay.
And his nonprofit was definitely helping out several student athletes, entrepreneurs, people in the military do that. And he wanted to take me on. So that was the plan, that was the goal. Unfortunately, there was a delay because after I helped him out with his fundraising event at Media Heights Golf Tournament, my aunt's fiance ran the car into an 18-wheeler, Paradise, Pennsylvania, on Route 30, which is one of the dangerous highways in America. Because the original highway was supposed to be on the back roads, but the state withdrew the funding, so they set it on Route 30 as the official highway.
So wait. So because I need to know. So you wasn't driving it?
No, I was the passenger behind the driver.
So it was multiple people in the car.
Yes.
Everybody lived?
Unfortunately, 2 people passed away.
Oh,
One
wow.
person got injured. Another person just remembers everything mentally, but no injuries. And for me, I was that mathematical equation. Critical condition.
So I seen that you had to learn all your motor functions again, like to learn how to walk, to talk. How do you remember that? How was that? Like, when did you start to get some type of memory of? So let me ask you before I go. Was anything wiped out? So you don't remember the accident, but you were able to pick up on your life from coming out of the coma, because you were out for a couple days. So coming out, when did you start to get memory from your past life, but not the accident, but just starting to remember who you were? And
That took time because when you suffer a concussion,
right,
being sensitive to light, then you're on these medicines. And it's like if I shook your hand right now, you'll feel the nerve endings. But if I shake your hand with a glove, you're not going to feel the nerve ending. Therefore, I am desensitized. And when you're desensitized to a lot of things, it's your taste, your sight, how things feel emotionally, physically. And I'm legally high just to be, coping with all this pain.
okay,
Right.
As far as the memory goes, it just took time to remember, like, who's this person who kept coming in to see me?
okay,
But it turns out I didn't remember that person for a long time because last time I saw him was I was a child or preteen from these cookouts for family reunions.
Right.
okay,
And then, things just took time between the rehab, the hospital, being on that feeding tube. It was a lot of uncertainty. It's one thing to survive the car accident in itself.
right,
I just want to get into that. Basically, can you imagine the cops using the yellow tape to taper off the scene of the accident? Can you imagine the fire department using the jaws of life to cut the car in half?
right,
Can you imagine the EMT people putting a neck brace on me while checking my pulse? Can you imagine them putting me on a stretcher, putting the straps down, and we're in the middle of Paradise, Pennsylvania. The nearest hospital's in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and that's about a 35-minute drive. But I should have died of internal bleeding. The reason why I say all that's on memory, not necessarily memory, it's based on research, because since I don't remember the car accident, it took a lot of soul searching for me to do with being comfortable to talk about it many years later, where I was in the writing process of this book, and I had to like do a lot of self-discovery, looking at all these Facebook comments on my wall of people saying they're praying for me, hoping for the best, this is not your time, all these quotes, and then to realize I made the car accident made the newspaper, radio, television, word of mouth. It's just a situation where it's like, I couldn't believe that it happened. And then when someone showed up in the newspaper, I'm like, whoa. And then when I first, let's see, I'll go back to the operating table story. Basically, I'm in the operating room. The woman thought I died on the operating table because my pulse may have went away once they put the graft stent in me due to internal bleeding. So she's crying hysterically, and they decide, you know what, let's not call the coroner. Let's just sedate him. Let's see if he'll wake up. Several days later, I did wake up in 2 stages. One in a cloud 9 state, and one on a more conscious state where I'm less medicated, and that's where I'm like, where am I at?
Right.
And no one was really trying to tell me anything. But then I see a woman at this door, and she's crying tears of joy that's the day I became declared a walking living miracle.
How old were you at this time?
In my early 20s.
Okay. How are you now? Because you have one of those look we would never.
Yeah, you still look like you in your early 20s.
I'm like, well, how old are you?
I'm 36, actually.
Okay.
And my birthday was last May at school when I was working. The teacher surprised me with a gift basket for, snacks. The kids made a poster for me. I didn't see that coming. Then they sung happy birthday to me 3 times, 2 in English, 1 in Spanish. I was like, whoa, I feel welcome here and appreciated. And I didn't even ask for that. It was something that was done out of generosity and appreciation.
So I want to still go. So you came out, you had to rehabilitate yourself. How and then you said desensitized. So how did you feel, or were you able to feel, or even to mourn those that passed in the car accident?
I wasn't able to. It's just, originally I thought I was the only person involved in the car accident. And eventually told me 2 people passed. And I'm not able to be at a funeral in that condition. So I'm excused off the bat. And, I was, just thinking to myself, like, how did this happen? And then when I finally get told the truth, I'm like, this makes sense. That makes sense. But again, it takes time for certain things to come out, which is the whole truth. I can fast forward to now where...
So the driver, hold on. The driver, was it his negligence or was it an accident?
It was his negligence.
So he survived, right?
No, he passed away on impact.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Do you hold any ill will towards him or for that? I mean... No,
I found out the whole truth. It's just... He caused it. He's not here for me to give me a sorry. All the other people. It's just a situation that I had to deal with all this pain, my life's put on hold, and other delays. But at the same time, I gotta take responsibility. I decided to get in that car. I didn't have to.
So let me ask you: Do you have? Because we have this thing with memory that over time, nuggets and little flashes will come. So do you get flashes at any point, or do you have any type of? Well, I guess you don't got a phobia of driving because you came, but do you like drive past that highway or certain things trigger type of flash responses of memory?
I used to be like sensitive, like hearing an ambulance or maybe a fire department or the police. Like are they coming after me like they did in that car accident?
Right.
And I'm like, okay, they're passing me. I can move forward.
Okay.
But then things went away.
Okay.
Then there's also the waves of emotions.
Okay.
I didn't understand it, and I'll give you a two-part answer to it. Like, I had an MRI done. I had the headphones on, listening to jazz, and they had the thing spinning, making a loud noise. When the doctor, uploaded everything on the CD, he looked at me, he looked at the car accident situation, then he looks at the results. His mouth just opens up wider than I've ever seen. He tells all the staff to come into the room. I don't know why. He tells them, look at this guy. Look at this car accident scene that he pulled up on his computer screen, and then look at the MRI results. And then he announces, I don't even suffer from PSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that people suffer from with military, being around too much gun violence, or any other type of negative thing without coping properly.
Yeah.
Right.
I didn't know what PST was, and I looked at it like, okay, see, I don't wake up in the middle of the morning or the middle of the night like, going through a hot flash.
Okay.
I don't wake up like in the middle of driving like, am I about to run into this motor vehicle? Am I about to run into this truck? The second part was, over the years, when my anniversary would come up as a walking living miracle, I used to go through these waves of emotions.
Okay.
Not that I'm being in my feminine.
Yeah.
No, you good.
It was just like, I just understand I'm not addicted to no drugs.
Okay.
I'm not addicted to the food.
Okay.
I'm not addicted to anything on the internet. I'm like, what's going on here?
Right.
It wasn't until I got interviewed last spring by the Southeast Times, Marquise Lumpton. He put in a phrase that triggered everything off like the light bulb. I was suffering from survivor's remorse.
Okay. Yeah.
I didn't understand how that was possible.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I finally realized I'm left with remorse for the people who passed away.
Yeah.
And then I looked at a different perspective. I can relate to parents who have to, unfortunately bury their children, sometimes their grandchild. And it's like, whoa, I didn't know that was on my mind or heart. And that gave me better clarity and a sense of...
Okay, so you wasn't too desensitized because you still had your...
You were empathetic to the situation.
Yes.
Okay, so you didn't have no brain damage though, right?
There was just a concussion.
Okay. But nothing that messed with any of the hemispheres or any part of different systems. Okay. So, you're a teacher.
I'm actually like a lot of things. I'm like, I'll start off with the spiritual thing, saying I'm rich in talent, rich in spirit. I know how to multitask. Right now, I work as a teacher assistant.
Okay.
Kids with special needs. Of course, I'm a keynote speaker, life coach, entrepreneur, and self-published author.
Okay.
2-time college graduate.
Okay.
So you got a long resume, man.
Yeah, I had to update it again last night.
So do you? That's something you do for the ad for your accomplishments. So take us through some of your where you have been, because you have done keynotes.
Yeah, New York.
Okay.
Like the Bronx, Queens, New York, southbound New Jersey. There's this place called Robert Morris School or middle school or elementary school. Then there's also this place in Maryland.
Okay.
Then there's Franklin Marshall College.
So is these all under the same context that they're bringing you in?
Well, some of this stuff was through the help of the Choices Foundation of Ron James. I gotta give my credit where credit's due.
Yes.
The other things were just me personally. Like, for example, the day I determined I wanted to be a keynote speaker after going through all that trauma and adversity was I started regaining things back, talents, and everything else as a whole. Then this guy named Andrew Williams was going to Lancaster Country Day Middle School. His teacher wanted to do something about poetry and spoken word, but she realized, why should I teach out a book I could bring in someone who got that expertise and experience. And that's when he asked me. Then I got interviewed by the administrators, passed the test, came in sometimes later, and I realized I gotta speak to their level, allow them to be themselves when it comes to conveying a message.
Okay.
Basically, I was just teaching them about the basics about poetry, where it started from, and allow them to speak their own experiences. What people don't understand is that because you got money don't mean you're not going to face hardships or adversities.
Right.
Because when you're in the upper income class, you got to keep your circle small because you don't want everyone having access to you.
Right. Explain what you mean by that.
Because, for example, you look at MC Hammer, he was giving jobs to everybody left and right.
Yeah.
But the thing is, that's too much overhead costs.
Right.
Okay.
But at the same time, he admitted it was ignorance on his part how he managed the money. And he didn't know any better. And he had people telling him the truth. He had a whole bunch of yes people.
Okay.
If you have a whole bunch of yes people around, you're not going to grow.
Right.
And eventually, he filed for bankruptcy. Then he came back.
Okay.
Now, when you look at like a Master P, a Tyler Perry, a Sean P. Diddy Combs, or anybody else, there's a reason why there's a few chairs at the board table and many people waiting outside.
Okay.
Because the decision makers are making decisions behind the scene
Okay.
when nobody's watching the most.
Okay.
Most people either hear about what happened, know about what happened, or find out what happened on the back end.
Right.
Okay.
And part of the reason why you got to keep your circle small because you don't want too many people with access to your talents, gifts. You never know who's going to be plotting on you, trying to swindle you.
Mm-hmm.
You never know. It's just reality because, it's not that money is the root of all evil. It's just the hearts of people
Yes.
is evil.
Yes.
And they think they can justify,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I got this mental health disorder, this diagnosis. Oh, I can just do you wrong.
Yes.
That's not how it works because
Okay.
you wouldn't want somebody doing that to you or your dear loved one.
Right.
So don't do that to someone else who worked hard, sacrificed, went through sleepless nights to get to where they are in life. Because that's generational wealth that they can pass down for the next 2 or 3 generations.
Okay.
And based on statistics, African American people are the biggest spenders in America.
Okay.
But with all that wealth being spent, is all that wealth that could be generated towards our own communities. We don't own our own hospital, bank, transportation services, an NFL team, NBA team, a hockey team.
Nothing.
Yeah, like you look at P. Diddy. Yeah,
Nothing.
yeah, we don't own the core values of how this economic system goes.
Right.
Because if you don't have that, people think Shaq is the rich person because he's worth, let's say estimate over 100 million.
Right.
But it's the people who write him the checks that are the people who are
Yeah,
wealthy and rich.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And at the end of the day, with wealth comes great responsibility.
Yes.
And it's not just spending, saving, it's about giving back to the community and giving opportunities to those who in need. For example, Magic Johnson, LeBron James give back to their communities by creating schools, scholarships, working with businesses from mom and pop shops to corporate America to let's make our communities much better. Therefore, we should decrease the dropout rates, help these kids see a different vision than the prison, the pipeline.
Right.
Let's expose them to something more than just rap, sports. Because anyone can become a doctor. Anyone can become a lawyer, work a trade. It's a matter of giving them exposure and opportunity.
Yes.
Because with a trade, somebody's going to need something done to their house all year round.
Right.
So let me. You said the Ethan Poetic LLC.
Yes.
So what is? It's not a nonprofit because it's an LLC. What all entitled under that umbrella? What all do you do?
Keynote speaking, life coaching, self-published author, life coaching, and pretty soon, this is the future right now.
So
I like coming to the attraction of me creating my own documentary on an independent level.
Okay. So do you do you break it down? You have clients for your life coaching? Do you have how? Because I know we can get so busy because that's a lot. So how do you keep the balance for
Well, it depends on what somebody needs. It's like if someone's looking to overcome a certain adversity, I gotta listen and evaluate the situation
Okay.
and see what type of tools do they need.
Okay.
Because as a life coach, you can't do the work for them, but you
Yeah.
can give them the information and bridge the gap.
Yes.
Mhm.
Because it's like rehab.
Yeah.
Nobody can make you do the work.
Right.
You have to be willing to do it when the life coach isn't there.
Okay.
And what people have to understand is that, you know, a life coach is not your maid.
Right.
Someone's trying to help you in your game of life, your game of lifestyle, and your language and meeting you where you at. Because ultimately, do you want to become a better version of yourself or not?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Because eventually you got to put a timeline on certain things.
Okay.
And I do require, you know, a security deposit to be paid up front out of respect because I have something you want and my time is valuable
Okay.
and I just didn't get here by accident.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Okay. So let me. So, because you're very, take it. You're very studious. So how do you go about? Take us through the day of Ethan. Like, how do you prepare? What do you have a focus agenda of what you're going to focus on today, or do you take us through a morning? How you start?
It could one or two ways. Either I can focus on my business
Okay.
or I can just go to work, half day or full day. And then after that, I go to some meetings, some networking events, look at some things on Facebook, check out the emails, check my mail. I can also plan out things ahead of time on where I want to be
Okay.
on my own time because I realize most of these tax codes are for the benefits of entrepreneurs, business owners, corporate America, nonprofit and for-profit organizations. For example, you can look at the church, whether it's non-denomination or denomination, they have received over $8 million in donations, which is tax write-offs.
Mm.
Therefore, the question is, are they really, how much of that money really put into somebody's salary as a pastor, being on the board, and all this other stuff, versus the community?
Right.
I understand you got to have upkeep, but eventually, what type of outsourcing and community engagement are we doing?
Right.
Because I was told by Dr. Umar is that some of these churches are being run by the government in a subconscious way. Like, we're not going to do a tax audit on you if you don't do as much community outreach to help someone experience a breakthrough.
Right.
Hey, one hand shakes the other.
Yeah.
And I'm not lying because you can ask any pastor, like, do you really want someone to audit your bank records? And you're making a certain amount of money that should be audited?
Right.
And, you know, do you want to put up risk to your nonprofit status? Do you want to get exposed for some of the things you're doing behind the scenes that will come to light?
Okay.
Then you also have to look at the situation of, not everyone, but certain politicians like to talk big, but the problem is not everything gets done the way people want it to get done. They have to be fair in a way that is for everybody, but sometimes some people will get caught up in getting some hush money through donations to influence certain decisions.
Okay.
And then you can look at some of these housing decisions like, we're raising the rent, raising the mortgage, raising the taxes on the people
Yeah.
who are the heart of the community, and you're pushing people out.
Okay.
And I'm saying that because, why? Like, for example, you look at the barbershop too.
Okay.
What people saw in that movie is what we're experiencing now.
Yeah.
And you have to also look at, you know, okay, COVID happened. I saw people spending a whole lot of money on things that were liabilities.
Yeah.
But in reality is, you know, you could have used that money to start your own business, your LLC, pay some college debt, get a GED, get a trade,
Right.
or even put some money away for a rainy day and build some compound interest on it.
Right.
And now you see it. Let's see, you're seeing inflation of all this money coming out of your pocket because some people are looking to make the money back from the losses.
Right.
And you have to also look at perspective of, you know, we live in America where there's full of opportunities.
Right.
even a person with a felony or more than one felony can
Yes.
become a millionaire.
Yes, yes.
Look at the
absolutely.
real Ricky Ross. Look at Suge Knight, Rise and Fall.
Right.
You can look at Dr. Dre. And, a number of people. What it comes down to, yeah,
Yeah, you talk about it.
yeah. You can't allow something to define you in life.
Right.
Elaborate on that, please.
I don't allow my adversity of growing up in a single parent household, me having a strange relationship with my father, being in learning support classes, or coming back from this car accident, define who I am. It's just give you a little sneak peek while I talk about my book. Both my grandmoms saw greatness in me as a newborn baby, because they held so many babies in their arms, and they can identify those who are multi-talented versus those who may just make it.
Okay.
And one person professed, my grandchild is born with greatness. One person professed, I believe this child is born with greatness. One grandma was able to see some of the fruits of my labor. The other grandma was not able to because she passed when I was a preteen.
Okay.
Hopefully, now I'm much older, and they had both passed it looking down on me, like
She spoke it into you.
yeah, speaking into
Yeah,
existence.
she spoke it into you.
And there's also the thing we have to look at in life of, do we know our purpose? Do we know what our real gifts are? Because the same gifts you're using for football, basketball, track, wrestling, field hockey, soccer translates into the business world,
Okay.
entrepreneur world, starting your own business world. Like, you can work your full-time job and have a side hustle selling t-shirts.
Do you think it's important to have your own entrepreneurship, or how do you feel about that? Do you feel that that's something, King, that we should focus on and something that we should do?
Yes, you have to believe in yourself, have the vision,
Okay.
and you have to be willing to do it for the long run,
Uh-huh.
because you never know if you'll fall short of digging up gold.
Okay.
And I mentioned that quote because this one guy was within several feet of gold, but he stopped short.
Yeah, 3 feet from gold. That's
And you also got to look at the gold rush out west, where people was finding gold in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's inside mints, factories, not like a warehouse factory or
Right.
a working factory. I'm talking about a place that's sealed off to preserve that gold that increases in value several times over.
Okay.
But moving forward in life, we have to understand our purpose is, besides playing sports, listening to music, because we also have to know our history as African Americans of why we're in the position we are.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why we end up slavery in Africa is because the Moors, who are African, once took over Europe.
Mm.
When I mean took over Europe, you look at some of the statues, the noses are cut off.
Yeah.
That's because African Americans created those monuments,
Mm.
created the original Mount Rushmores.
Mm.
The problem
And
is,
noses were of Negro descent. Yeah.
yes, the problem in that situation was greed, not create an economic system for everybody, and then here's what's happening. While they're taking over Europe, Spain is already being prepared with more than enough gunpowder, just in case they declare war on them. Once the Moors declared war on Spain, that was pretty much the beginning of the end.
Okay.
Once Spain won, the Moors, who are African, had to give back all that land back to all the European people.
Mm.
And that's why you see some African Americans that were living in Europe in lesser positions.
Mm.
And then, Europe and Spain wanted more. You know what? They did this to us. Let's do this to them. So what they ended up doing was doing this in multiple ways. Acting like they're missionaries, coming into Africa, acting like they want to do trades. But really, they're just getting their foot in the door.
Yeah.
And eventually, they're scoping out the place, taking mental notes. I know how I can attack him here. Hey, that's where the embassy is. Hey, that's where his command center is. And eventually, Africa is fully colonized to the point where parents who are living in Africa want their child to become American citizens and then come back once they become more financially stable to get back to the family. And I say all that to say is that we know a Meek Mill song, a Dr. Dre Still DRE song, but we don't know our history of the Moors and why we got put into slavery. If we don't know that, we've fallen off. But at the same time, some of the previous generations weren't willing to share that true experience.
Okay.
Sure, we had the Roots, the movie, multiple series, but we got to go back even further.
Right.
Because African Americans, or Africans in general, were once kings, princes, had royal families.
Yes.
There still is royal families in Africa. The problem is they're not for the people, they're for themselves. Why they allow people in their community or villages to live impoverished lifestyles, why they get to live a luxurious lifestyle.
Like America a little bit?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's like for example, I'll give you two examples. When Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg and Suge Knight were looking for a deal for a record label, most record labels didn't want to deal with them.
Right.
But it just so happens this one record label called Interscope was on the verge of filing for bankruptcy. And Jimmy Iovine was willing to take a risk.
Yep.
And, they were surprised when Suge Knight said, well, we got to own our masters. We got to own our publishing. We got to own the syncing. We're not signing no 360 deal. Because if we do, that's modern day slavery. Or we do all the work and you take all the credit.
Right.
That's one example. Then when it comes to my example, when it comes to my book, the reason why I became a self-published author because I was contacted by publisher saying, well, is it true that you're writing your book? I said, yeah, I am. Here's the contract. They emailed it over to me, and I'm thinking, all right, everything looks good on paper. Let's see if they passed the question part.
Wait, so they sent you a contract before your book was even finished?
Yes.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
How did that come about? So they found out you was writing it, or they already knew a little bit about
a combination of, when you go through a near-fatal car accident,
Okay.
it doesn't go away when you make the newspaper, television, and radio, and it's on social media.
Okay.
It just doesn't go away.
Okay.
It's just, when I started writing the book, I'm doing something that 90% of people didn't think I was going to do or make it.
Okay.
And I proved them wrong. And as I was saying, I saw the contract. It looked good on paper. When I asked them the question parts, everything seemed good. But here's where the deal breaker happened. And the deal breaker was simply this. They said, if I sign with them, they will own the movie, the majority rights to the movie and the soundtrack. And I'm thinking to myself in my mind, not saying it out loud, I can't do business with them. I don't want someone pimping or profiting off my experiences that I came into fruition about and put into work when nobody was looking.
Okay.
And I realized you're already thinking about a multi-million-dollar idea.
Mm-hmm.
So I realized I can probably make my own movie independent, like Dr. Dre, 50 Cent, Eminem, Denzel Washington, Tyler Perry, and look for more of a distribution deal through syncing, downloads, and profits from the movie sales.
Okay.
I'm thinking to myself, my story kind of relates to The Blind Side, Homeless to Harvard, then there's The Pursuit of Happiness.
Okay.
So they're already telling me the blueprint, and I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm glad they didn't invite me out for lunch.
Right, right.
Because that would have got me.
You would have told them about themselves?
No, I'm not going to tell them about themselves while they fit in the build.
Yeah.
It's like the key to a man's heart is to his stomach.
Yeah.
I can't say nothing bad about someone offering a contract that's
pretty
much bringing, how to say this, modern day slavery, because they try to get on the ignorant.
Right.
Because ignorance is bliss.
Mm.
And you have to understand, you got to read your contract. If you don't know what the contract says, ask them, I need a copy of this, PDF or physical, so I can research this myself independently.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get sucked into any, well, it's a one-time offer. All right, find somebody else then.
Right.
Because I'm not the last person you're going to offer this contract to.
Right. So let's tell us a little bit more about this book.
This book is called The Inspirational Story of Ethan A. Poetic, Chronicles of Adversities.
Show them the cover, man. Let them see that thing.
This is the soft cover.
Yeah.
I got a fresh cut,
Okay.
8 forewords, 2 back cover reviews.
Okay.
Actually, there's a guy that Harrisburg knows. He normally does the Harrisburg football games. His name is Dave Berman. He's the PA sports announcer.
Okay.
And then there's also let's see, this guy, you guys might know him in the Harrisburg area community. He used to play football at Still High and Central Dauphin his senior year. Coach Matt Ortega.
Okay.
He has a relative name. I forgot his name. He plays for Harrisburg. He's that light-skinned guy.
It's a whole bunch.
Yeah, it's a lot of
His
light guys.
His last name is Forte. Forte. Or,
Okay.
yeah, him.
Shout out to him though. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know him.
Him. And then there's also he had another nephew that played at Lower Dauphin. Yeah, he was one of the 8 people who wrote my forwards because I didn't want to go with the traditional 1 or 2. I wanted to go for the massive 10 to 15.
Okay.
Because
10,
when you're in
15
the
forwards,
yeah, hey, I wanted to go all out, man, because I realized
no doubt.
because okay, I'm gonna finish that part and move on to something else. Basically, the reason why I wanted so many forwards is just my story is unbelievable. Like, how many people you know have a 99% chance of death versus 1% chance of life, become a 2-time college graduate, get behind the wheel of a brand new car in 2016 Honda Civic, receive 2 Pennsylvania Commonwealth citations from Republicans and Democrats, then receive a Lancaster City Proclamation Declaration, and then on top of that, overcome adversities prior to the car accident.
Okay.
So how many people you know can detox off of drugs legally and not be addicted to the opioids? I never held up a sign for panhandling.
Okay.
I never asked nobody for no money.
Okay.
You know,
You just made your way through this thing.
yes, there was help
Absolutely.
along the way, but I had to do the work.
Yeah.
Now about the book, basically, the idea came from the Veronis family. They invited me over for lunch during the spring semester of 2020 after I passed from Mills University. One person had the idea, hey, I should write an autobiography. At the time, I was unsure about, do I really want to be that vulnerable? Well, they kept encouraging me, and eventually, you know, they started feeding me lunch, and I gave in. Yeah, I wasn't wearing a bib that day.
Hey.
So the real, we got a little bit of time. I want to know the writing process. How was that for you? Reliving and putting in the notes and the things that.
Well, first you gotta see yourself crossing the finish line.
Okay.
If you want to become an independent, you know, self-published author, you go through Amazon or even Smart, but you still got to do the work,
Right.
promoting, marketing. You know, I got invited to this webinar by Chandler Bolt, one of the best self-publishing authors in the world. He gave me the blueprint of the PDF version. Sat through a lot of things. I realized everything a publisher was going to do for me, I could do myself through Ingram Spark. And, you know, as I was talking over the other, she said, you know, this is a blessing because you get to keep the authenticity of your own story from a first, second, and third voice and in person. And I decided to just go all out, you know. I'll read a few titles. My upbringing in a single-parent household, Leaving Men Leaving Me, Lancaster, PA, Finding God, Car Accident Recovery, The Day My Life Changed Forever, and I'll leave you with this, Homelessness. There's more chapters in my book. There's well over 250.
Okay.
And you have to really, you know, understand the process of what you want to do to finish your project. This isn't something you can just put off. You gotta have a deadline from your own team of a editor. It could be a teacher. Have someone create your book cover design, whether it be Adobe Illustrator or Canva, however you want to create it.
Right.
The difference is the soft cover I can create any way I want. Hardcover laminated case, you gotta keep it simplified. And then I have an ebook version. And then the audio version, hopefully my editor has all the files combined all into one. Then it's time to copyright to the Library of Congress. And once I get that certification, then it's time for me to do some pre-sale order links with a slight, like coming a tracking sneak peek of me reading the book. Therefore, the audience and listeners get to hear me in first person reading the book to the point where they want to listen to something that's in the morning. Someone that's blind want to listen to something inspirational. Maybe somebody in the juvenile facility needs to hear something out of this book. the purpose of the book was to inspire people to overcome their own adversities, hardships, wounds, traumas, and scars. Again, those things are not meant for you to carry. Those things are meant for you to overcome, because this earth is well over 2,000 years old. Therefore, there's a blueprint on how to overcome that stuff. It's a matter of either you want to do this with a group of people, counseling, talk therapy, a life coach, prayer, because you can't allow those things to hold you back. If you do, you miss out on the best thing that ever happened to you, and that is the purpose for your life. And moving forward, you have to buy your barcodes by the bulk. You have to buy your ISP numbers by the bulk. It's best to have liability insurance. Create your biography. Have 4 words, however you want. Or you can go to a publishing deal where it's more like a combo of,
Of Hollywood. They're going to mess with it, right?
Yes and no. Like, for example, you don't have to go with the best publisher. You go with an independent publisher where they're not going to have any involvement with your movie rights. But again, read your contract with a, what's that thing, magnifying glass.
Yeah.
If there's anywhere you don't know, just Google it. If there's any phrase you don't understand, research it. Do not sign your contract until you know it like the back of your hand. Because you don't want to give away your freedom and your rights that our ancestors have fought for. So why should somebody else profit off of your story off the back end? So moving forward, it was the best deal ever because I had creative control and it allowed me to be myself authentically. There's certain things I did talk about that are much deeper. I talked about certain relationships I had, certain relationships I lost. And, hey, I appreciate your support. It's available on print on demand, like Ingram Spark, Amazon, Kobo, Walmart, Apple, Barnes & Noble, or you can buy the book directly through me, through social media, or my website, ethanspeaks.com.
Holla at him.
Where I sign the book, autograph it with your name, date it, a message. You just pay me through Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, Zelle. I definitely got to charge you for the shipping. Once I get paid, I process everything, and then I send it through media mail and take a screenshot of the barcode, send that directly to you. That way we both know where the book is going.
Right.
I'm a legitimate brand. I'm reputable. And this is a good cause for the greater good because I'm doing something that most people don't do when they recover from a car accident.
Right.
So, Ethan, I want to ask you, because you have the name Poet, before we get out of here, you have the name Poetic.
Yes.
Ethan A. Poetic. So that means you do poetry, right?
Yes.
Can we get some bars before we get up out of here?
Not from you, off the top.
Off
yeah,
the
you
top,
yeah, off top. Let's go.
Oh, you put me on the spot.
Yes, sir.
We're going to try to
What is
We're going to read the book. We going to do, yes.
What is this, Rap City?
Yes,
Poetry
it
City?
can be.
You in the Bang Bang Fitness Center? In the basement.
In the basement.
Here we go.
Oh, let me see. There's many ways I could go about it. I could say my name's Ethan Poetic. I'm athletic. I'm blessed to be proficient in being educated because I come from a single parent household of 5, but I did my best to thrive. Moving forward, don't give up on yourself or before you wreck yourself. I'm quoting somebody else off the top, but at the same time, it's better than working as a certain person at a store using a mop.
Okay.
But
Oh, you really did freestyle. My bad.
Yeah.
Let's go. Bars.
Well, we appreciate you, man. We're coming up on time, so you can tell them where to find you. Just the website again and your social media handle.
Oh, definitely. Let's see. If you want to buy the book directly from me, my website is ethanspeaks.com. You want to do the serious keynote speaking for your event, whether it's a high school, private school, panel, summits, conferences, private venues, you name it. And of course, you got to fill out the consultation form. That way I can see if everything aligns initially. And I am serious about monetizing off of this, as in you have to sign a contract. and be willing to pay a fee. That way I can reserve it. And, I'm being serious as I'm as advertised on the front page of the Langston newspaper. Southeast Times featured on WGAL, which is an affiliate of NBC. I've been featured on NBC, Channel 66, which is coverage in Lancaster County, Adams County, York County. I've done two interviews here locally in Harrisburg, here at the Bang Bang Fitness Center.
That's right.
Yes,
Then,
sir.
of course, there's the WITF radio. Here in Harrisburg, I know a lot of your local leaders like Gary Gilliam, Coach Cal. Then there's Michael Parsons. I haven't seen him in a while. Congratulations on, much success. Giving back to the community, I think about a month or two ago
Yeah.
with that camp at the high school. You really invested in what was given into you, and you really know how to pass the torch on. And then, I know a lot more people are in here in central Pennsylvania and beyond. But ultimately, I'm serious, I'm legit. When I speak on that stage, you're going to leave out of there much better than how you came out with.
That's what's up, man.
Because when you hear my story, when I speak the honest truth, unfiltered, whether somebody likes it or not, I'm going to tell the truth. I'll give you a sneak peek. One of the things I talk about is, my parents. They didn't help me with this success.
Okay.
I'll give you a quick story by saying, as I was in my recovery stage, my dad sent his wife to tell me he's not going to help you get your life back together. Oh, I heard that, lost my appetite for lunch. You know what I did? Turned that adversity to my advantage. Turned that discouragement to encouragement. Got my license. Started out with a 95 Ford Taurus. And, once it was time to, upgrade, you know what I did?
Turned up on him.
Oh, I did more than turn tough.
Hey, let's go.
This woman helped me drive up to York Apple Honda dealership. And she told me what type of car I'm getting. I said, I need to make sure they have my favorite color, red. And, I was test driving the car that just was in the showroom. A red Honda Civic, 2016, happened in May. And she was like, you gotta be kidding me, Ethan. Well, watch me test drive this with the dealer. Come back, I told the dealer, I want this. And then she pulled out her cell phone, started taking pictures of me, put me on blast with all her friends. And then I left out of there with a brand new car.
Okay.
I came back like a new man and everything. I gave my mom a ride around the block because I'm the first out of all her children that have a car.
Okay.
Brand new car with that new car smell.
Okay.
So people were telling me I should drive up to my dad's house and show him this is what you missed out on. I didn't have to do that because word was already getting back to him. But eventually, when I drive back to Coatesville, got my picture taken in front of the Welcome Back to Coatesville sign. As I'm going back to the car, I hear someone speaking to me, and they're at a red light, and there's my dad, and he sees me with the brand new car, 2016 Honda Civic. You didn't miss out. Can't take any credit. Can't say I did the process with my son. Now you got to eat your words and saying, I told my wife to tell him I wasn't going to help him get his life back together. Now he did more without me than with me. The message is not to insult somebody. The message is to tell other people who are in that situation, don't allow somebody's words to define you. Don't allow someone's statement to define your discouragement. All you got to do is prove in your actions. Now that person ends up eating it for lunch, breakfast, dinner, midnight snack. Yeah, then they end up going back to the dentist for a root canal, tooth extraction,
man,
wisdom teeth, and eventually end up in a choir rehearsal using polygrip for their dentures.
He taking it to the max. He gonna remember that.
That's off the top.
Words today, boy.
That's off the top right there.
Yo.
But ultimately, I'm not the only person experienced having a strange relationship with a father. You have to understand here in America, a lot of us are being raised by single parents. Most of these marriages are ending in divorce at 80% filed by a woman. Now, if you got a prenup, here's the loophole.
Uh-oh.
That's where I got dropped a dime put the bag out there for all men. Once you impregnate and have a woman with her, she automatically entitled to child support.
Mm.
I'm just
I don't
telling
even
you.
want to cut you off, dog, but we gonna get into a whole nother segment. And we gotta get up out of here because this thing, I'm telling you, this thing was about to. We was about to go there. I felt
Not
it.
me.
I'm just sure.
I got to.
We gotta pass down some gems to the next generation.
No, we go. You passed out plenty of gems today, my brother.
Yeah.
We don't want to go there.
Yeah.
We will, but we don't want to go there today.
Yeah, but
Listen.
but ultimately, my social media handles is for YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn is Ethan Poetic.
Yep.
Spelled ETHAN
Mm-hmm.
POETIC.
Let's go.
Then on Snapchat, TikTok, and what's that other place? Snapchat,
You got
TikTok,
Instagram.
Instagram. Yes.
Okay.
Ethan Poetic 23. Then on Twitter, I am Ethan V23, and of course my website, ethanspeaks.com. I'm an authentic brand, homegrown, and my last words of encouragement is don't invest more you can afford to lose. Watch the people you be around the most, as that's who you like to become, and don't limit yourself to certain things, because I didn't limit myself to just being a student athlete. And I talk about that in the book. I expanded onto new horizons. Self-published author, keynote speaking, 2-time college graduate, making the front page of the newspaper, and more importantly, the best has yet to come.
There we go.
There we go.
There we
We
go.
appreciate you, bro.
We definitely appreciate you,
We do.
Ethan.
Very
Thank you
good.
for making that trip up here, man. We appreciate your story, everything that you've given us today. This has been a great interview. This has been Quit the Cat Podcast with your boy BP
Yes,
and
sir.
the Bishop.
Yes,
We
sir.
out here. Shout out to Ethan. We gone, ladies and gentlemen. Peace. Peace to the gang, peace of gang, and welcome to Quit the Cat Podcast.